All right, Shalom Israel.
Shalom.
All right, we want to welcome you to another class, isbhpk San Antonio, and we'll kind of go over a topic that I think people can relate to. A lot of people can relate to, and a lot of people can understand this particular topic and how to deal with it. So, the topic of the class, go ahead and write this down. It's overwhelmed by stress. Overwhelmed by stress. That's the topic of the class. Overwhelmed by stress. All right, and first and foremost, we want to give a shout out to all the other schools, our brothers out there in Houston and Virginia and New York, Cabo Cab, down in Guatemala and Amiatazai. We want to say shalom to them brothers, bringing dynamic energy and teaching and understanding.
Where your concepts come.
And welcome all the new viewers on social media, YouTube, Zoom. All those different platforms, digital platforms. So we want to say shalom to you too. And for the existing brothers and sisters that watch our class, shalom to y'all. We appreciate your support and your questions, which helps us, keep coming up with the digging in the scriptures to come up with answers and solutions that can hopefully help your lives. And that's ultimately what it's about. It's edifying the body and building up the body of Christ, specifically being the lost sheep of the house of Israel. The so-called Negroes, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, Dominicans, Haitians, North American Indians, Seminole Indians, Argentinians, Brazilians, Mexicans, those scattered throughout North, Central, and South America of Negroid and Indian descent. We want to most definitely work on you and send this message to you because of the estate of our poverty, our captivity that we've been in for the last 400 years, which was prophesied in the Bible that this would come to pass. So this is not something strange. The Most High had already prophesied that we'd be here at this time in this day and age in captivity, in the hand of our oppressors. So that's biblical. So we can actually take a class on that by itself. So we'll say shalom to all you brothers watching and listening, and our message is for you. But go ahead and getting started on this particular topic. Being able to recognize stress, because stress is often interpreted in many ways, and it's also dealt with in many ways. Some positive, some negative. More often negative, on how we interpret stress, look at stress, deal with stress, and the answers that we need to pursue. Shalom, y'all. Shalom, everybody online. Shalom. And the answers that we need to pursue is all in the book. So we're going to go ahead and just open up with James chapter 1, verse 2 to understand about how and what we're dealing with when we're overwhelmed by stress. Now, before we get that, just want to kind of just look at it and say, well, when do you know, like, sometimes people don't even know they're stressed out. Their behavior is erratic, their temper is short, their speech is very sharp, very contentious, or very quick. They're not that inviting. They're not that open for conversation. And sometimes we don't even recognize that stress or the situations that we're dealing with is getting the best of us, or circumstances that happen that befall us are getting the best of us. And some of us start to drift. We start to veer away from conversation, from each other, and we start to disconnect from the body. And these are things that we got to be careful of, because how you interpret the stress is very critical. How you interpret what you're going through is very important, and how to navigate through those muddy waters. You have to be careful, because a lot of times some of us gets the best of us, and we look for alternative measures to cope with stress, whether it be alcohol, drugs, cigarettes, whatever it may be, or pills, or whatever this society has to offer to tell us that this is the answer to deal with your stress. But the Most High has already have an answer for us. He already has a solution set up for us in order to deal with our stress and understanding it. So we don't have to seek necessarily alternatives, because there's nothing that you can do in the flesh that's going to elevate and increase you in the spirit. And just to prove that, give me St. John, before we go to James, let me get St. John chapter 6, verse 63. Somebody read that for me.
John chapter 6, verse 63.
All right.
Correct.
Let's read that. Read it loud and clear.
John chapter 6, verse 63. It is the Spirit that quickeneth.
It says the only thing that can bring a person to life and elevate you as a person is the what?
The Spirit that quickeneth.
Is it some a concoction of pills?
The Spirit.
Is it some weed?
The Spirit.
Is it a 40 ounce?
The Spirit.
Or even some whiskey?
The Spirit.
Wine?
The Spirit.
These are all things that people go to when they're stressed. And you know, there's nothing wrong with going to wine, but it's the moderation of it that counts. Sometimes we overindulge because we think that this is how I deal with it, or I just veg out on TV. I just disappear into the TV, and I just sleep my issues away. I rest, and I close my doors. I cut off my phone. I don't want to be bothered. I just go into my own little cave, so to speak. So he said, but when we're dealing with what the Most High is showing us, he said it is the what?
It is the Spirit that quickeneth.
It's the Spirit of the Most High that quickeneth. It's what brings you to life. It's what helps you countervail whatever circumstance that you're going through in your life. It's what helps you deal with suffering, pain, stress, being overworked, being burdened, or being isolated.
Or unfamiliar scenarios and circumstances that are beyond our control.
Right.
Because the spirit of a person becoming stressed out is when they're stretched beyond their natural routine, and they're stretched beyond their normal work limit, and when they're stressed or stretched beyond their perceived capacity.
Right. I'm glad you said perceived, because it's what they tell themselves. I can't handle this. I'm overwhelmed. This is too much. What I'm going through is beyond me. You know, and there's some steps and there's a process of when this spirit comes on you. You know, what steps is necessary to overcome it. But first and foremost, you got to recognize that there's nothing physical that can deal with the spiritual issue. So read that one more time in John.
John chapter 6, verse 63. It is the Spirit that quickeneth.
I gotta pull the scripture if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
Can you hold that scripture? Go to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 16 and verse 12. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 16 and verse 12. Because Sham Shawan brought out an outstanding point, showing there's nothing physical really we can do. Even though the flesh naturally leans and looks towards a physical solution, the flesh is programmed, especially in a comfort-based society. The flesh is programmed, especially coming from the old world and methods of pacification we had prior to coming into the knowledge of Yahushua and the Most High. That being our background, that being our condition, now I'm expected, being this righteous spiritual person that knows the laws, statutes, commandments, I have to maintain this concept. I have to maintain this understanding. What is that understanding? Wisdom of Solomon 16 verse 12.
Wisdom of Solomon chapter 16 verse 12. For it was neither herb.
It was neither what?
Herb.
Because as an herbologist, as brothers that study herbs, as brothers that go into different paths of study, every medication,
Holistic medicine,
because that's the quote unquote righteous way of doing things. That's the original way of doing things. The Bible says go back to the herbs and the plants for the healing of the nations. We know that. But at the same time, in modern day pharmacopoeia, in modern day medicine, in psychiatry, in the medical establishment, they look towards those herbs and plants and synthesize them into compounds that they can sell at high expensive prices that people call what? Psychotropic medications, right? Those are medications that deal with regulating mental and hormonal imbalances that help people that have issues, right? We're not saying that that's not necessary sometimes.
Yeah, but even in that, it's still a guessing game.
It is a guessing game.
Because the psychiatrist can write a formula prescription for you.
Yeah.
And that doesn't guarantee that particular prescription is going to aim at that particular problem or disease or illness. It's not guaranteed. It's basically a concoction or a guessing game of a blend of psychotropic drugs
Exactly.
used to say, okay, well, let's figure out, using these particular mood stabilizers, let's figure out which one of these tends to work better for the person. And then you got to find your particular you got to find your particular rate of comfort or level of comfort using this mix of concoction of mental or psychotropic drugs. Still not guaranteed.
Take these pills, give us a call in a month or 3 weeks, and give us a report on. That's an experiment. That's experimental conversation.
Right.
I'm telling you, I don't know how it's going to really come out. I'm gonna just wait 3 weeks and we'll see what happens, and then from there we'll make an adjustment.
Yeah, we'll adjust the dosage. We'll adjust the concoction. We'll adjust the times that you take it, the frequency that you take it. It's still a guessing game. It's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed.
So knowing that, read on the scripture.
Was it Solomon 16:12?
Uh-huh.
For it was neither herb nor mollifying
So
plaster.
the Most High said it wasn't the herb or the mollifying plaster, making those little white pills, turning the little plasters and making a little something you can just take, and maybe this might solve my problems. It might just help, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Might lessen the edge from what I'm really dealing with in my mind. Read.
Nor mollifying plaster
Uh-huh.
that restored them to health.
What was the key word?
That restored.
That restored. We're looking for man-made methods to restore spiritual health. But who created the spirit? The Most High created the spirit. He's the king of spirits. So there's nothing man can really do other than submit to the scriptures and get solutions from the book, like Sister Juan was bringing out earlier. Read on.
Nor mollifying plaster
Uh-huh.
that restored them to health.
Mm-hmm.
But thy word.
But the what?
But thy
The
word.
word. Man can't live off bread alone, or physical man-made concoctions on a psychiatric level alone.
Alternative forms of coping, alternative forms of healing.
Because what people do is, after they found that the method that the medical establishment, this multi-billion-dollar medical establishment is not working for them, they become their own doctor.
Right.
I'm gonna get this mushroom right here, and I'm gonna experiment with microdoses of this mushroom. I'm gonna go over here, I'm gonna get this plant, I'm gonna go through these different strains of cannabis. I'm gonna go through multiple strains, I'm gonna be my own doctor and self-medicate until I find an answer. Or I'm gonna switch the method, I'm gonna go into sex, sleep, I'm just gonna work until it will just work my problems away. But none of these physical methods, I haven't seen them really work.
They're not long-term solutions. You know, all these are not long-term solutions to solving the problem. So what he's showing us is that even what's provided for us as a choice of coping is only temporary. Ultimately, what we have to indulge in is a heavy form of study and a heavy form of understanding, and that can only come from one place. Read that one more time in St. John 6:63.
St. John chapter 6, verse 63. It is the spirit that quickeneth.
Go ahead.
The flesh profiteth nothing.
So there's only so much you can do in the flesh to heal your spirit. Read on.
The words that I speak unto you.
What did Christ say?
The words that I speak unto you.
What are they?
They are spirit.
They are the element, the elemental medicine that's needed to heal your problems. They are the elemental medicine that's needed to solve your issues. He says, the words that I speak unto you, they are what? Spirit.
They are spirit.
And what else?
They are life.
And they are life. So what we need more than anything is a heavy dosage of Christ. Especially when we're dealing with troubled thoughts, pains, afflictions, turmoil, grief, stress, affliction. We need a heavy dosage of Christ in order to deal with our everyday problems. The problem is that just like we don't drink enough water and we're dehydrated, it's the same instance on how our spirit is when it comes to the words of Christ. We're spiritually dehydrated because we'll have maybe an hour and a half. I don't even know what the stats are on a person's phone usage throughout the day.
True.
And what their average phone usage is. I know that if you look at your phone and you look at your stats, it'll tell you what percentage of your battery or what percentage of your time has been spent on what app. Whether it be you spent 4 hours on YouTube, or 30% of your battery's been on Facebook. It'll give you a percentage of how often you've been using these devices and how much time you've been giving them. But if you transfer that time and substitute that time that you have for whatever it is that you're doing and put that in studying, we'll see a tremendous difference in our mental and emotional stability.
So are you saying that study ethic and that time, that investment will pay off in the healing? That will pay off as far as healing.
It goes towards what you gain is an opportunity to start solving your real deep-seated issues. You have an opportunity to start giving yourself some clarity and peace of mind throughout your troubles. And a lot of times we're overwhelmed by the stress of life and the pressure that life puts on us, and we don't know how to deal with it. By the time we recognize that we're overwhelmed, we're already stressed out. We're already hitting the panic button. We're already looking for immediate, quick solutions because we've already dove into the fact of I'm overwhelmed, I'm stressed out. By the time you say that and recognize that, you've been in this situation way too long. You've been in this mentality way too long. So what he's showing us is we have the Most High didn't leave us without a solution. Because we hear this quite often about I'm overwhelmed or life is getting the best of me. Now, do me a favor and go to 1 Peter and give me chapter 5. Let me get this real quick.
You want to finish? Now we got a point.
I was doing that. 1 Peter?
1 Peter chapter 5, read verse 6.
1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 6.
Read that.
Humble yourselves.
So when you are going through anxiety, when you're going through pain, when you're going through suffering, when you're going through situations that tribulation, he says the first thing you got to do is what?
Humble yourself.
You got to what?
Humble yourself.
You know what that means? You got to stop thinking you can fix the problem yourself. You got to stop thinking that you have the answer to your issues, as if you've created yourself or you know yourself better than the Most High who created you. So, and that's the first thing that we like to do is come up with our own answers to what we're dealing with. We try to self-diagnose and self-analyze. I know what my problem is. I can fix myself. So we don't humble ourselves to the Most High and say, you know what, this stress that I'm going through, obviously is telling me the first thought should be that I need the Most High. No matter what you go through in life, you should be able to recognize that the minute you receive some type of stress, I go to who?
Most High.
I need to lean. That's not always the case.
Can I ask this question?
Yes,
Can I
sir.
ask this question? Make a statement.
Mm-hmm.
So, what you're saying is, I go to Christ, right?
Right.
And a person that may not be studied enough might think like, what are you talking about? I go to Christ. Christ is in the fourth dimension, or he's in heaven, he's somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
He's another world. When we say you got to go to Christ, we're saying you have to go to a spiritual mentality. And that spiritual mentality is the same mentality that Christ took when he went through his stress.
Right. That's right.
Would that be the point?
That would be the point, and that's perfect what you're saying. And to expound on that point, go to Hebrews chapter 2 and read verse 18. Hold as somebody else read. Hold where we at in 1 Peter.
Hebrews chapter 2, verse 18.
Mm-hmm.
For in that he himself has suffered being tempted.
Why would we go to Christ?
For in that he himself.
Why should we say, okay, humble myself before the Most High? Let me go to Christ, my master. Let me go to Christ, my head, to help me go through what I'm going through. It says what?
He himself hath suffered.
Because who knows suffering? Who knows loss?
Christ.
Who knows affliction?
Yahusha.
Who knows pain of mind?
Yahusha.
Who knows betrayal? Who knows what it feels like to be deceived, stabbed in the back? Who knows what it feels like to be disrespected, not appreciated, undervalued? Who understands this?
He himself.
Right. So that's why what Dawiyah said is true. You should be looking at Christ as your solution, because he's the one who had to master undergoing tribulation, and it wasn't even his fault, and he didn't even deserve it. Read on.
He himself hath suffered.
Go ahead.
Being tempted.
Being what?
Tempted.
Go. Give me the definition of tempted. Yeah. I'm getting it right now.
Tempted.
Uh-huh.
Enticed to evil.
Enticed to what?
Enticed, provoked to evil.
So he's been through situations that wants to make his mind think evil. He's been through scenarios where his mind wants to be negative, and he's had to overcome it. So it's not like he can't relate to us. Christ is the ultimate one individual that can relate to our pain. He can relate to our suffering. Read on.
He himself hath suffered, being tempted.
Go ahead.
He is able.
Go ahead.
To succor.
Now the definition of succor, I want you to get the definition of succor, and I want you to write this down. Because this is very important what Dawiyah said. If you can repeat what you said a minute ago, you asked the question.
The question was, when you said in the made a statement that when a person is dealing with stress or being overwhelmed, like we are accustomed to in some way, shape, form, or situation, you have to go to Christ.
Right.
Now, me being a new person, me being a person that may be experiencing the book, like, well, Christ is in heaven, Christ is unattainable. But when you're saying that, I'm just asking, okay, if that's the case, going to Christ means I'm going to Christ's mentality.
Yeah.
I have that ability. I have the ability to go like the woman went to Christ and touched the hem of his garment so she can get healed. We can't touch the hem of his garment. He's not on earth right now. But spiritually, he says, I stand at the door and I knock. So we have the ability to give our mind and take our mind to his frame of thinking.
Yep.
But you brought up earlier about study ethic and time invested in the book. That's the only way I can get the words of Christ, so I can, in those situations, lean and go into his mindset to deal with what I'm dealing with. Because he's the author and finisher of our salvation. That's the statement I was making.
Okay.
I got to go into the mentality of Christ to handle scenarios that are beyond my ability, or beyond my pay grade, or beyond my skill set, or beyond my control.
Or understanding.
Most importantly, beyond my expectation and my understanding.
So it says that Christ is, being that he understands how to suffer, it says he is able to do what?
To succor.
And the definition of succor means what?
Literally.
It says literally to do what?
To run to.
So the minute that you go through stress, what are you supposed to do?
Literally.
It says literally do what? Run to.
To run to.
No, run to who? The bottle?
Yeah.
Run to Christ?
The club?
Run to the club?
Yeah.
Right.
Run to the bedroom?
Right.
So, that's the real situation. Depending where you're at in life, right?
Right.
I'm running my mama's house and just talk about, I'm in the truth, but I need mama's mothering again, which is nothing wrong with, loving your mom. There's nothing wrong with that. But the point, can her answers and solutions is she biblically gonna solve your issues? I can run my friends. I had some great friends in the world. I had some really good friends. I had to let them go because they couldn't give me answers that were biblically based on my path. They didn't understand the spiritual path I was on. Now on the carnal path, they got the best carnal answers. We're gonna smoke. We're gonna drink. We're gonna get some new. We're gonna get some numbers. We're finna Mac. We're finna go out here and do a vacation. We're finna go on a trip. We're finna sit here and we're gonna eat until we want to throw up. Or we're gonna Go back to the gym. We gonna get it. We gonna get it back into the gym, bro. And after we get in that gym, we gonna start hooping, and having a good time. We gonna forget about our problems. Or we gonna dance the problems away. Or we gonna video game the problems away, based on what generation you come from. My generation wasn't the gaming generation, but now brothers do a lot more gaming than my previous generation. All right. The point is, looking for carnal solutions to mental issues is the reason why people are more and more on a higher rate of medication. More and more on a higher rate of the suicide statistics are going up. All right? Mm-hmm. So suicide's going up. There's that girl we just talked to. I talked about it last week. 30-year-old Miss USA, 30 years old. She was on television. She was a regular on a television show. She did television shows. She won beauty pageants. She finished college. She had everything a person could. She had looks and beauty. She had everything necessary, quote unquote, in the carnal flesh. She checked all the carnal boxes. Why wasn't she happy? Because she found out her beauty was not the solution to her unhappiness and her stress. She found out all the pageants she won wasn't enough. She found out going to college and getting her degree and becoming a lawyer from the best schools, and the career she had, being that career woman that's going to make you strong and independent. That was not the solution to her issues. So the question is, we have a delusion that there's another solution to our problems, and Christ is the last answer. Let me check every box, and then Christ is my. Once I've hit rock bottom, once I've done everything in the book, you know what? Now let me dust the Bible off.
And sometimes we don't even do that.
Really?
Sometimes we don't even open the Bible enough to perceive that there is answers and that there is a solution to my issues. A lot of times, like you bringing out the old girl.
Yeah.
That just passed.
Chris, right?
Yeah, Chris. I forgot her. Chesy Christ or something like that from North Carolina.
Her last statement online was, "May this day bring you rest and peace." Right? Mm-hmm. And she had like a really pretty picture of her, but the eyes were extremely dark. You can see the darkness of her countenance. She was in a bad place, but she had no spiritual answers.
Nobody took the time to say, you know what? You've given yourself to society. You've dedicated yourself to study. You became a lawyer against whatever odds. You won a beauty pageant. You're smart. You're pretty, but you still mentally don't have any solutions.
Everybody would die to be in her shoes.
Right, but you don't have any answers to your problems.
And she had a psychiatrist, and I'll never forget the counsel a psychiatrist gave her.
What was that?
The counsel a psychiatrist gave her was, when you have problems, eat your favorite foods, go home, and watch Netflix, and go on binge. I mean, this is it's a common recommendation. That's a common recommendation for people with problems from the psychiatric community, from the psychologists out here nowadays, because people feel better. But that didn't work for her, and her apartment was paid for. She had a paid for apartment, 29th floor in New York, living great. And that psychologist getting some mental help, it didn't help, because there was a carnal answer given to her. Everything but Christ. So this world's at enmity with Yahushua. This world's an enemy of Christ. Yep. I'm gonna give you every solution. I'm gonna give you every alternative. Every alternative but the truth. Every alternative but Christ. And because she didn't get Christ, her spirit failed. She broke within, and then she fell to her death. Waste of a life, beautiful life, or quote unquote a beautiful on the outside life.
With all those talents, it went to nothing. It was in vain.
Come.
Well, all those achievements for what? Because she didn't run the who?
Christ.
She didn't run the Christ.
She said she felt enormous pressure turning 30. She said turning 30 brought some enormous level of pressure that she couldn't withstand.
You know why? Because so much pressure is put on a woman to be married by 30.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be married. You're supposed to be married, have your family, have your kids.
Yep.
You're supposed to have reached the status, the social status of what's considered a good life by 30 years old. You don't want to be single in 30. You don't want to be. That's what society says. You know, there's a lot of pressure on women in particular to have had children by that time.
Certain life.
To be married by that time. To be settled down by that time.
Come.
Not on the dating block by that time. You know, there is a lot of peer pressure, but that pressure goes when you're 12, 13, 14 years old. You get the same level of pressure, whether you're a teenager or going to high school.
Yeah, that's true.
And you're trying to fit in, and you can't fit in because you're odd. Your body's odd. You got long limbs. You got pains in your body. Your bones hurt because your bones are stretching out. You walk. You're clumsy. You trip over your own feet. You know what I'm saying? You look lanky and awkward. It's almost like your body outgrew your mind, and your mind's not connected to your body. You're just knocking stuff over, spilling stuff. You're just clumsy because you still haven't figured out that your body actually is bigger than what you think it is. You still think you're, 5 foot whatever, but your body's growing, and you have to adjust to where you are spatially in your body. And so you got this disorientation. You know what I'm saying? Your boobs hurt. You know what I'm saying? You got pains under your arms. Your hormones are changing. You got body odor that you never had before. You got hair in places you ain't never seen. It's the same pressure that a teenager may go through. And I've still got to look at, I'm trying to fit in, and I don't know where I fit in at. That pressure is there as well.
They have to live up to everybody's expectations.
Yep.
And that alone creates a high, unbearable level of stress, because my life is compared to pictures online.
Yep.
They're air sprayed, airbrushed, people be lying.
Photoshop.
They be having green screens in the background.
Yep.
They're on airplanes. They're going to LA and they're sitting here in a studio, like a actual studio in an airplane. You think they're on? You think they're Air Force One, or you think they were Jay-Z in a G4, and they're just in a studio, a movie set.
A lot of people don't live in reality, and they want you to buy it.
And I gotta live up to this false reality.
Right.
I gotta live up to my friends' glory stories that they be lying on. Homies be lying on. I gotta catch up with this person's lifestyle. They be telling you all their victories and none of their defeats. These rappers, they're the biggest liars in the world, bro. Mm-hmm. They never lost, never got rejected. They have a whole.
They won.
They have a whole wad full of money like this, and you look closer and it says this is not real money.
Ursha money.
Yeah, not real money. But people are they're trying to catch up to these quote unquote role models.
Right.
And now chasing these false role models, these false gods, I'm under the pressure.
Well, I just can't keep up with my regular life. My regular life, that's if I'm emulating somebody's life, which causes stress. But if I just can't keep up with my regular life, not even just looking at how other people are doing things, but my own life is causing me pain. My own life is troublesome. My own life is getting the best of me. My own situation, I'm drowning in my own situation because I don't have an answer. I don't have peace of mind. I don't have stability. The scripture says what? Read that one more time.
Hebrews chapter 2, verse 18. For in that he himself hath suffered, being tempted, he is able to succor.
It says Christ is able to do what?
Succor.
That's S-U-C-C-O-R, right?
S-U-C-C-O-U-R.
Oh, S-U-C-C-O-U-R. So succor, which means what by definition?
Literally, to run to.
It says when you go through stress, you're supposed to know immediately that I need to run to who?
Christ.
I need to run to Christ. Immediately. The first impression of stress in your life, or strain, or trouble, you have to put it in your mind, I need to head for Christ. I don't need to go. A lot of us want to go home. We think, I just need to go home, man. I had a long day. I just can't wait to get home. I just can't wait to get in my house and in my bed and relax and be outside and away from everybody. That's not the answer. I just got to get some sleep. I need to go to sleep. I need some rest. That's my first train of thought. I need rest. I need sleep. I need to go home. That's not the answer. Your first train of thought should be immediately when you perceive any form of stress, you're supposed to run to Christ immediately. He said literally to run to, what else?
To run to support.
To run to support. Who is your support?
Right.
Christ. He's your support. He's there for that reason. He's able to help you and support you through your situation. Go ahead.
To help or relieve when in difficulty.
To
It says
relieve when in difficulty. Because I can't run. You know why you can't run? Because tomorrow you're going to be in the same situation. You got bills today. There will be bills tomorrow.
Yep.
You can drink all the coffee you want. You can drink all the alcohol you want. Smoke all the trees you want. Tomorrow, here's that bill. That bill going to show up at your doorstep the next day. Your job situation is going to be the same situation the next day. Your marital circumstance going to be the same situation. Your children are going to be in the same situation. Your lack of relationship is going to be the same way tomorrow.
But what we haven't done is train our mind to go to Christ. We all haven't trained our mind to do that. Read on in that definition.
To assist and deliver from suffering.
It says Christ has the ability, if you run to him, to assist you and deliver you from what?
Suffering.
Suffering. So what's the answer to stress in life? What's the answer to stress?
Word, I was saying.
There's only one answer. There's only one answer and one solution. Now everything else is an alternative. Everything else is a substitute. But there's only one true answer and one real solution to your problems. And that's you knowing how to recognize where you need to run to the minute you have stress on your shoulders. That you depend on Christ to help alleviate your pain and your suffering. So read that with that understanding. You can read that definition. Just read through that definition one more time, then we'll go back to the scripture.
So are you also saying this? That just because I have the knowledge that I am an Israelite and I know my tribe, that's not enough to solve my spiritual issue?
No, because even still, brothers still denounce who they are. They still get weak, and they still quit, and they still treat each other like crap. They still treat brothers and sisters like crap. Sisters don't look at sisters positive. Brothers don't look at brothers positive. And then all we do is take out our pain on the person next to us. Just like Cain slew Abel. All we do is take our pain out on each other. The closest person next to me, I'm going to take my pain out on them because I don't put myself in the mentality of depending upon Christ for my solutions. So even though I'm a Hebrew Israelite, that doesn't mean that I depend on Christ for loss, for struggles, for affliction, for pain. That doesn't mean I've trained myself that way. But what he's telling us is this is how you should operate every day. And if you were to make this habitual, if you were to make running to Christ habitual, you'd find out that the stress would be mitigated and it would diminish. The suffering that you go through would diminish. You would know the answers and how to handle it. Why is that true? Because Christ did say and somebody get St. John chapter 14. St. John chapter 14, verse, I think 26, if I'm not mistaken.
You want to hold it? Or?
Yeah, hold that, bro, because we're going to read that definition.
John 14 and 16? I mean 26?
Yeah.
Huh.
No, 14 and 18. I'm sorry.
14 and 18?
Huh.
St.
St.
John
John.
14 and 18, all right.
St. John chapter 14 and verse 18.
Read that.
I will not leave you comfortless.
What did Christ say?
I will not leave you comfortless.
Is he a liar? Is the Most High a liar? Is
Right.
Christ a liar?
Because like you said earlier, a lot of us don't, because we can't see Christ. We can't, like you said, touch the hem of his garment. We can't see Christ with our naked eyes. So Christ, it seems too far. It's a far-fetched idea that he's there, that he's available, that he's in my presence, that I can call upon him and he has solutions for me. He can aid me. He doesn't seem like it's practical to call on somebody who I don't see with my naked eyes. But Christ already said, I will not leave you what?
Comfortless.
I will not leave you without comfort. He's already shown you that he thought about us and what we would go through even before he departed back to the Father. There was already a solution set aside for you to help you deal with your stresses, to help you deal with your pain, to help you deal with your afflictions. He already set it up even before he left. He already knew that we would need an answer to our problems.
And can I say this too? And what people miss out on, because we're so incessant and we're so determined to solve our problems our way. We have miniature emergencies, we have micro emergencies, and then we have real emergencies.
Yeah.
You have pop quizzes, and then you have real quizzes. You have small tests, and you have really big tests. And if you forsake the opportunity to handle those small tests, it's the Most High breadcrumbing you to Him. He's giving you small test by small test by small test, and we've ignored Christ.
Right.
And now, when the big scenario comes, I'm overwhelmed.
I'm overwhelmed because I haven't trained my mind to go to Christ.
Come.
So I've trained my mind to look for other means of comfort.
Come.
And so we've created a whole. We'll get on the internet and look for. We think that we can replace stress with entertainment.
That's
so
true.
So I'll go to something to make me laugh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go watch TV. I'm gonna go look at my phone, and I'm gonna watch some skits from somebody's channel, and they just got some jackass type channel.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at foolishness to make me laugh because I'm looking for something to take my mind away from what I'm going through. We've trained our mind to go to comedy, or I'm just gonna sport. I'm gonna look at sports.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at sports because sports,
Yeah.
I see how this team overcame that struggle. So, if I'm gonna put myself in the shoes of that athlete, or I'm gonna watch some superheroes and some Marvel DC comic, because I'm gonna put on the power of Superman or Batman. We have an alternative way of looking at how to deal with our issues, and none of these issues has anybody ever told us to really run to Christ. Nobody's ever trained us as a child. Imagine where we would be mentally if we were trained as a child to run to Christ for your problems.
Holy man.
Imagine where we would be at versus all the other things that we've done that never really worked. Or some people just say, just wait it out, it'll go away. Well, that doesn't mean you have an answer. If you just so that means that if I listen to somebody's advice and say that this too shall pass, which is a Bible verse, but if I just listen to that and say, man, you just got to be patient, it'll get better later. After the darkest night, there's always a brighter day. That was Tupac's lyrics. You know what I'm saying? So I should just listen to Tupac, because Tupac told me how to get over my issues. But what is the state of mind that I'm in while I'm going through tribulation, waiting on it to get better?
That's the real issue. What's my spiritual state?
Because Tupac said Hennessy and weed, you know what I'm saying, is his answer as how he copes with his issues. So should while I'm waiting for my situation or circumstance to change, am I filling myself with unproductive methods of answers to cope with my problems?
So you're saying there's unproductive, almost like fool's gold
Right.
methods or ways.
Placebos.
That's the best way to say it. The placebo ideal.
Right.
I'm gonna sit here and pursue these sugar pills. It's not real.
It's not real. Comedy skits online, television, sports, all these things are not real answers to your issues.
It's just for that
That's real.
temporary it's temporary relief. Can I pull a scripture right here, bro?
Come.
Ecclesiastes in the Bible, chapter 2, verse 2 through 8. And the last verse is 1.
Apocrypha.
Bible. Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 2.
Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 2.
Uh-huh.
I said of laughter, it is mad.
I said of laughter is what?
It is mad.
Because I can recall times I ain't gonna lie. I used to look at James Brown on YouTube, James Brown drunk, and he was very funny, bro.
Or Dolomite.
Or Dolomite. That's my kind of entertainment. Dolomite, James Brown when he's drunk, Def Comedy Jam. Those are some things I used to try. I'm trying to find something. When I was younger, the truth, I was trying to find something to kind of just take my mind away. I need to laugh, take my mind away. What does the scripture say? I said of laughter, it is what?
It is mad.
It's madness, because it's not solving the problem. Read.
And of mirth.
Mirth. What?
What doth it?
What doeth it means is not effective.
What doeth?
It's not really effective. All the drugs in the world won't bring these circumstances to change, bro. It won't fix these circumstances. It's just me temporarily laughing to take myself away from the pain of the current circumstance and moment.
It's a quick fix.
It's a quick fix.
I have now cry later.
Read.
Verse 3. I sought in my heart to give myself unto wine.
And Shashawan was just breaking down going to wine and the different levels and excesses of wine and the frequency of wine. Okay, just listen to the weekend. Yeah, I just need a little day cap.
You know, because they say wine is spirits. You know, so I'm gonna see what spirit that vodka give me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see what spirit that Hennessy give me. I'm gonna see what spirit rum gives me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see what spirit gin gives me.
Come.
So I'm gonna go through and figure out which one of these spirits is the right one for me.
We're like that doctor, right? We're
Yeah.
gonna just give you different medications to find out what combination.
Tequila helps me sleep.
Yeah.
Gin make you sin.
Yeah. Patron makes me know what's going on.
You know, so I'm looking at what people say is the answer through these spirits, man.
I get loose with Grey Goose.
We're good. I get loose with the goose.
Yeah.
You know, so these are different spirits that I'm depending on
Yeah.
to help me and aid me in my circumstance. But read on.
I said, verse 3. I sought in my heart to give myself unto wine, yet acquainting my heart with wisdom.
Yet acquainting my heart with wisdom. So I'm drinking wine. I'm trying to study and mix them together. Israelites to watch TV and study the Bible at the same time.
Yeah. Well, drink wine and then study the Bible and merge those two
I
concepts.
turned into a feast, like a party, like a self-party. I got the Bible open, I got the wine, I got my show.
I got my fragrances and myrrh.
It's kind of spiritual going on here. It's kind of like, it's not just straight scriptures. I got to mix all these combinations. I'm going to bring all my favorite things together. I like the Bible, I like this show, I like this wine. I just put my favorite things together and maybe the problems will go away.
Yep.
Doesn't work. Read.
Says, and to lay hold on folly, till I might see what was good for the sons of men, which they should do under the heaven all the days of their life.
Read on.
Verse 4. I made me great works.
So some men are like, I'm gonna be creative. I'm gonna start writing these rhymes, express how I feel.
Yeah.
I'm a paint. I'm gonna get a coloring book. I'm just gonna color for stress. They have stress books.
Yep.
There's books you write. You take, you're just a colorer, right? I'm gonna be an artist and just feel better. I create some art and I express how I felt. So now it took my mind away from my pain. Well, that's the expression of my pain.
Right.
Read.
It says, I made me great works. I builded me houses. I planted me vineyards.
I'm gonna get that money, get these houses. I'm gonna plant these vineyards. I'm gonna have my own little personal gardens, my garden of peace.
Yep.
This is my garden of peace.
My feng shui, my yoga studio.
We move here every day. We see these things, these places.
Yep.
It smells like a lot of weed. These gardens are. These gardens smell like a lot of. We did a lot of cigarettes.
You like the cigarette bowl.
Cigarette bowls and little bitty, like I guess roaches, and there's these bamboo trees and Buddha heads out.
Yep.
They're trying to find their little garden of peace.
With the little Japanese little flower, the plant, the lucky trees.
The lucky trees out.
The money trees.
The money trees.
The money trees. And, and
Maybe
maybe
like you said, the bamboo.
the bamboo.
Yes, it's the lucky tree. With the cat with the arm that go like this.
Exactly. money.
Golden cat.
The golden
Good luck,
cat.
good luck.
His arm just go like this
Wow.
the whole time. Or I got the elephants with the trunk facing the door.
Exactly, bro.
Because these superstitions that we do this too.
Yeah, those are real things. That's what people do to find their peace. I gotta find my peace. Read.
Verse 6. I made me pools of water to water therewith the wood that bringeth forth trees.
So I got deeper into whatever I was into.
Right. So you're saying that in order we just dive into something that we figure is gonna eventually solve our issue.
Yeah. So I made me a little garden now. This garden is not giving me enough peace, but I get a little peace. Let me go ahead and go create a bigger garden.
Right.
We get these water pools. You know how people create these big ass projects.
Ponds.
It's a distraction project.
Right.
And I'm just gonna make a bigger pond, and I'm gonna have a bigger little feng shui.
rock garden.
I'm gonna have more rocks. I'm gonna have more koi fish floating around, and I'm gonna have more bigger aquarium. I'm gonna have blue light. The backgrounds, everything's blue because psychologically blue makes you calm.
Right.
And I'm gonna burn lavender, and I'm gonna be at peace, and I'm gonna meditate for about 30 minutes, and I might be a minimalist tomorrow. You never know. These are things people do. They get really into their distractions or their projects, not Christ. To get rid of, they create their own little world. Now we got the metaverse. That's people's new idea. Let's go. I can't make a garden because I'm too busy.
Yeah.
So let me create an alternate world.
Yep.
And I'm gonna get sponsored by the devil, the white man. He's gonna help. I'm joking about that, but I'm getting sponsored by these corporations. They're gonna get money off of me to go to an alternative world because I don't like to look at the news in my real life. That's a real thing. Read on.
Verse 7.
These are escapes.
Come. Read on.
I got me servants and maidens.
I got people in my life that I do things for people. I do good things for people. They do the good. I'm important to them. I have a superior position. I'm superior to other people, so I should feel better about me because I'm in a good position in my life right now. Read on.
And had servants born in my house.
So he had wealth. Read on.
Also, I had great possessions.
He had great what?
Possessions.
What do we do when we're sad? The new shoes come out. The new bag comes out. The new fit comes out. It's called retail what?
Therapy.
Retail therapy. Okay, if this feng shui don't work out, if drinking this wine don't work out, let's go shopping.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Let's go to North Star. Let's go to La Cantera. Let's go someplace expensive where there's nice aesthetics. I want to feel better. Right?
Yep.
Read?
Change my environment.
If you change your environment, you can change your mentality.
You can change your mentality.
Yeah. Read?
Go outside. Go for a walk.
Get some air.
Get some fresh air.
Come. These are things we do, except we don't succor.
Right.
We don't succor and run to Christ. We run to these alternative environments, whether it's digital, or it's La Cantera, or it's our backyard garden, or it's our own personal little closet.
Or my studio.
My studio, my man cave.
The studio could be from music studio to artistic studio to whatever kind of relaxation studio, yoga studio,
Come.
all kind of studios. People create these in their houses, man.
Come.
Just little rooms, theater rooms for comfort.
That especially the theater room.
Yep.
Read on.
Also, I had great possessions
Uh-huh.
of great and small cattle above all that were in Jerusalem before me.
Read on.
I gathered me also silver and gold.
I gathered silver and gold. I gotta get this jewelry together. I need more jewelry to feel good. Read.
And the peculiar treasure of kings and of the provinces.
He had access. He had access to more coping mechanisms than we did. Read on. Than we do. Read.
I got me men singers and women singers.
He even had somebody to sing to him all day.
Yep.
Hey man, you stressed out? Don't worry about it, Joshua.
I feel better already.
I'm feeling wonderful today. You got people singing to you all day.
All day.
He had access to this.
And that's Alexa.
Playlist.
Alexa.
Come.
You know what I'm saying? Play some mood music.
Play some mood music.
Play some mood music because Alexa knows exactly how I'm supposed to feel.
This is my sad mix.
Yeah. Play the comfort playlist.
Yeah, play the comfort playlist so we can get past this. In maybe 3 or 4 hours, I'm gonna feel a little bit better.
Yep.
Read.
Come. And it says, and the delights of the sons of men as musical instruments, and that of all sorts.
Now go to verse 1. So this is all the different things he did to relieve his mind. But go to verse 1.
What?
This is the punchline.
For chapter 2.
Chapter 2, verse 1. This is the punchline.
I said in my heart, go to now, I will prove thee with mirth.
I'm going to prove thee with what?
Mirth.
I'm going to try to make myself happy.
Yep.
Read.
Therefore, enjoy pleasure.
Therefore, do what?
Enjoy pleasure.
I got to find some pleasure.
Yep.
Because I got to wait.
The pursuit of happiness.
There you go.
I got to make myself happy.
I'm not feeling good about this marriage. I'm not feeling good about this place I live. I'm not feeling good about my situation. I'm not feeling good about how people look at me. I'm not feeling good about my online status. I'm not getting enough likes.
Yep.
My boss does not approve of me. I don't like my paycheck. I don't like my car. I don't like my outfit. I don't like my body. I don't like my look. I don't like my skin, my face. I don't like my nose. Read.
Man.
There's people. This is where people are at. This is where we're at. Right? You know what's her name? Bleach her skin again. What's her name?
Cardi B? Or no, Lil Kim?
No, that tennis player.
Serena.
Yeah, she looks
Oh,
looks
no.
crazy right now, bro.
She bleached her skin.
She did Botox on her. She has bigger cheeks, bigger chin,
Damn.
and then she's all like she's it's so weird to look at, but she's like a light skinned version of herself, but it's not natural. It's like forced light skin. Like You're forcing this, man.
White chicks.
Oh,
She turned to, it's basically white. It's white chicks is more feminine. It's a more feminine version of white
That's
chicks.
crazy.
And you can look online. You can look at her. She had to bleach it. You know why? Because she has everything except for that.
right.
Some people think what you don't have is the reason why you're not happy. I don't have this. I don't have that. This is why I'm not happy.
You know, it's sad because she's in a world where she's never really accepted.
Come.
You know, they always talk about her outfits. Her outfits are too ghetto. You know, her she's too muscular. She looks like a monkey. That's what tabloids have said.
Yeah.
She's like a baboon on the court. You know what I'm saying? She's too big. She's too chunky. You know what I'm saying? She's in a world dominated by people analyzing her aesthetics, analyzing her physique, and and if you get caught up into always trying to be accepted by the people and live by their determination of what you should look like, you'll never be happy with yourself. And she even got a white man
She got the quote unquote best this world has to offer.
that has some money.
He's bred it up.
But she's still not accepted. A person that's not secure within themselves will go to those lengths of looking fake and putting fake materials. You read about the girl that put she had some sea creatures growing in her butt.
No way.
Yeah, she had some some oceanic bacteria that
God,
grows
man.
in the ocean was growing in her butt.
That's a nightmare.
And she had oceanic bacteria growing in her butt, and she's on extensive antibiotics right now. She's in severe pain
She might not make it, huh?
because the doctor that hooked it up put some strange ingredients in her, and she has a strange foreign growth that should only grow in the ocean. It's growing in her butt. So, you know, all because she's an Instagram model, she cares about her look, she cares about the aesthetics of how people perceive her. That was more important than just health. And now she's putting it on Facebook, on Instagram. I did this. I feel ashamed. It was the worst mistake I ever made. Don't do this. She put the doctor on blast.
The doctor got paid.
She's in pain. She's in a lot of pain, severe pain. And it's toxic, bro. It's killing her from the inside out.
But I'm trying to physically augment myself so I can emotionally and spiritually and mentally feel better.
And cope with the way I look.
Oh, yeah.
It's bad, man. How you got seahorses in your butt, man?
Huh?
Yes, I'm just playing.
No, listen, right? You got a horse butt. Yeah, that's the right kind of horse.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the right kind of horse.
You got some sea creatures growing in you. That's bad, man. Some starfish
That's
in you.
scary.
That's insane. But this is what people do. But back to Dawia's point. Read that.
Says Ecclesiastes chapter 2:1. I said in my heart, go to now. I will prove thee with mirth.
He was self-counseling, bro. This was Solomon's self-counseling. You didn't hear him ask nobody. In Proverbs 31, King Lemuel got counsel from his mother, but she was in the scriptures.
Done.
He got counsel from somebody outside of himself. This is him talking to himself. I said to my heart, let's go.
Yep.
I will prove thee with mirth. I'm going to find my happiness. I'm going to force myself to be happy. I'm going to check all his boxes to find joy. We met this cat. This guy he had the nicest house in the world, nicest apartment in the world. Dude's muscled up.
He's successful.
This guy is successful.
Middle-aged.
Middle-aged, successful, got everything you can want. Car was nice.
Looks 20 years younger than what he really is.
Bro, this dude looks 28.
About 30, about 35. He looks about 35. Yeah,
But his body looks 25.
But he's in his 50s.
25-year-old body, 50-year-old man.
Yep.
Ripped, head to toe out. Got every item you can get to. So he's on such a dietary regimen. He's so disciplined and structured. Well, we moved his couch out, and a couple patties. He didn't want us to put his couch together. Then he calls us like 30 minutes later, and he's flipping out like the feds are at his house. Like he's flipping out like you would think the SWAT team was at his front door.
Yep.
He's like, my couch, this part's missing in my couch. I think y'all left something behind. He's panicking. We go to his house, bro, and all he had to do was just put this couch patty. It's like a puzzle. He just had to rearrange the couch puzzle. He knew how to put everything's there. He panicked so much he couldn't clear his mind.
His heart was racing. You could see the anxiety.
Face red. His whole body turned red.
Whole body turned red. You could see his heart. He started walking fast, talking fast. He was like, "You're not gonna believe this." He was in shock. He lost control. He lost mental stability. For about 5 minutes, this guy went into a full-blown panic.
And what's so crazy was it was over couch patties. One girl, we moved her house.
The cushions?
Yeah, couch cushions. One girl, we moved her house. It got a scratch because we had a new brother experienced. A slight scratch, we fixed it. But she bawled, she cried like it was the end of the world. The scratch was like the size of my pinky. It wasn't a scratch, it was a scrape, a slight discoloration. But she cried like she had lost the world, like she had lost everything. So do you realize people that don't have Christ, how a normal, everyday problem is amplified because they don't have an anchor? They don't have a spiritual foundation.
Yep.
I have no answers biblically. So if my couch patty is quote unquote is not correct, I'm gonna flip out. If I scratch my furniture, I'm gonna flip out. If I lose my job, I'm gonna take myself out.
Yep.
If I lose my relationship, I'm done. If I sit here and lose a certain amount of money, or I lose a certain outfit, I'm late to work, and that's my third strike being late. I might lose my position in my job.
I'm gonna lose peace of mind.
People lose peace of mind with physical, tangible things.
Yeah.
So right here, I'm gonna finish the end of the scripture right here.
I lose my phone.
Oh, that's a real one. Oh, my whole life is on the phone.
Yep.
I lost my phone. I can't find my phone. Now it's time to panic. Can we finish the end of the scripture?
Con says, I will prove thee with mirth, therefore enjoy pleasure, and behold, this is also vanity.
This is also what?
Vanity.
It is a waste. I invested so many years online. I invested so much time eating my pain. I'm physically eating pain. Like, come on, hot wings, chicken wings, Milky Way candy bars,
ice cream,
MD 2020, Hennessy, Ciroc, Grey Goose. I know them all, right? Driving just to drive.
Yeah. Burning gas.
The gas prices don't matter though, because we got problems. We're just gonna drive.
Yeah. Hit the highway.
Right? Sleeping until you can't sleep no more. Solomon did all those same processes. In the end, he found out, guess what? It was still a pointless pursuit.
And why did he do it? Read verse 12.
Come. And I turned myself to behold wisdom and madness and folly.
He said, I turned myself to figure all three out. Which one is better to have? So he gave his mind to all of them. Read on.
For what can the man do that cometh after the king?
Solomon's idea behind this was the fact that if I do this, then you don't have to worry about doing it because I'll tell you the results of it. So what Solomon was doing is giving himself to foolishness, to madness and folly and wisdom, so that he can come back and tell you which one is worth putting your mind into, which one is worth your time. Read on.
Even that which has been already done.
It says, even that which has what?
Already been done.
He says, I'm doing this so that you know that there's nothing new under the sun, so you don't have to waste your time doing it. This is why I'm going to give my mind to these extremes and these alternatives, is to save your life from having to pursue after foolishness, after folly, after wine, after silver and gold, after musical instruments, after pursuing money or mirth or happiness, or looking for something that has some type of intrinsic value in your own little personal studio that you're developing, your own personal Minecraft. Solomon is saying, I'm doing all this to save you time, so that you don't have to pursue foolishness and realize in the end that you should have pursued after wisdom or you should have pursued after Christ. Because ultimately that's where we should be spending our time. And let that go. You done with that too? All right, let's finish that in back in Hebrews chapter 2.
So the definition.
Yeah.
It's spelled both ways, with the U and without it.
Okay, so Succor is spelled S-U-C-C-O-R, but it also is spelled S-U-C-C-O-U-R.
Succor.
Mm-hmm.
Literally to run to.
It says, so you're supposed to do what?
To run to.
So read the verse so we can put it in context one more time.
Hebrews chapter 2, verse 18.
Read that.
For in that he himself hath suffered.
Just like Solomon said, he put himself through a lot of different variations of life, alternatives of life to pursue happiness, just so you don't have to do it. Christ also suffered and underwent a lot of stressful things in his life. For what purpose? Read that one more time.
Hebrews 2 and 18. For in that he himself hath suffered.
Go ahead.
Being tempted.
Go ahead.
He is able to succor them that are tempted.
So, because you're going to go through temptation in your life, you have to know that whatever temptation comes upon you, there is a way to get out of it, and there's a way to deal with it. So what did the scriptures say that, and the method that we're supposed to use to deal with immediate temptation, immediate troubles, immediate afflictions? Read that definition of succor again.
Succor, literally, to run to, or run to support, to help, or relieve when in difficulty, want, or distress, to assist and deliver from suffering.
And to assist and deliver from suffering. So Christ is the method that you're supposed to use. Because the topic of the class is called being overwhelmed by stress. Christ is the method that you're supposed to use in the minute you feel any form of stress. Any and all forms of stress, you should be immediately running to Christ. Giving your mind to Christ at the drop of a dime. There shouldn't be alternative forms of happiness of, man, maybe I need a new job. Maybe I need to move. Maybe I've been living here too long. Maybe I need a whole new wardrobe.
This isn't the city. This
Maybe
is not
I need,
the city for me.
Maybe I need to work out.
Yeah.
I need to work out. I need to change. I need to change my environment. Maybe I need to hang out. Maybe I need some new friends. I need a new set of friends.
That's the
Yeah.
That's a real thing.
You know what I'm saying? I got new friends. And
I need some new hobbies.
I need to do. Let me find out and see what other people are doing. Need new hobbies. All these things people will do, but do what? They'll do everything else but run to Christ. And then they wonder why I'm still left with these feelings. And I wonder why I'm still left with this pain or this suffering. Or I feel like there's no comfort. And so we got to be able to know how to deal with these situations. So back to where we were at in James chapter 1, verse 2.
James 1 and verse 2. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
My brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations.
Now we just read, when you go through temptation, who are you supposed to go to?
Christ.
Who are you supposed to lean on?
Christ.
Who are you supposed to, Yahushua, you're supposed to look for him. You're supposed to lean on him. You're supposed to pursue him. Because he's your help. So if you understand that, then you know that you're not alone. Because he also said, we just read in St. John 14 and 18, he said, I will not leave you comfortless. So if you know that, then you know that this tribulation or this temptation that's causing you stress, there's an answer for it. And because you know you have Christ available to you and accessible to you, you know that you don't have to take it so heavy. You don't have to take what you're going through so heavy because there's an answer. And you're not alone. And that's why it says you are able to count it all joy, because that's not an easy thing to do. It may sound easy. Count it all joy when you fall into what?
Diverse temptations.
A variety of situations that causes pain or affliction. So it sounds easy. Why is it so difficult to do this? Let's go to the Josephus in let's go to Antiquities of the Jews. And let's go to book 3, chapter 1. Let's go to Antiquities of the Jews, book 3, chapter 1. And let's read paragraph 3. Start at that line
9.
11.
11.
Yeah.
Book 3, chapter 1, paragraph what?
11. Paragraph 3, but line 11.
The trees also were too weak to bear fruit.
This when Israel was walking through the wilderness. Read on.
For want of being sufficiently cherished and living by the water. So they laid the blame on their conductor.
What do we do when we go through situations?
Blame on their conductor.
We look for somebody to do what? Blame. We look immediately, instead of searching for Christ, we look for whose fault it is. Whose fault is it that I'm feeling the way I feel? Whose fault is it of why I'm suffering? Whose fault is it of why I'm feeling or catching affliction, whether it be in the mind or the body? Whose fault is it? That's what we look for. We don't look to say, man, you know what? I better go to Christ. I better run to Christ right now.
We call that problem solving. Whose
Right.
fault is that's how I start getting proactive.
Right. I'm looking for an object of contempt. I'm looking for somebody to blame for the way I feel. And unfortunately, that's a natural carnal thought process that men deal with every day. Whose fault is it of why I'm suffering or I'm not happy? I got to blame somebody while I'm not happy. Somebody is the reason and the cause for me not being happy, or for me going through what I'm going through. Read on.
And made heavy complaints against him.
Then I start doing what?
Complain.
I look for somebody to blame, and I start to complain. Read on.
And said that this their miserable state and the experience they had of adversity.
And the experience that I'm going through, what I'm dealing with in my life, I'm looking for somebody to put it on. I got to put this pain on somebody. I got to put this tribulation on somebody. I got to put this feeling on somebody. Somebody got to catch this heat.
Yeah.
Read on.
We're owing to him.
We're owing to who?
Him.
Who is the him? The him is Moses at this time.
He's the authority figure at the moment.
Yep.
So we blame a lot of our issues on the authority figures.
Yep. Read on.
For that they had then journeyed an entire 30 days and had spent all the provisions they had brought with them, and meeting with no relief.
And they were meeting with no what?
Relief.
So when I don't see my situation getting any better, I don't see no relief. I don't see no comfort. I don't see a way out. I don't see an answer. This is the natural thought process of where our mind goes when we're consumed or overwhelmed by stress. The minute we don't see things getting any better, we mentally, psychologically, we get worse. Read on.
They were in a very desponding condition.
So when we say get worse, I just want to clarify. That means I get more negative.
I get more negative.
My state of being goes from positive or neutral, I'm just numb, I'm numb, to negative. And then now, based on my situation, it is what degree of negativity do you want to go to? That's how it get worse.
And he explained what that negativity is. He said they get into what condition of mind?
They were in a very desponding condition.
That desponding, by definition, means to be depressed or dejected in mind, to fail in spirit.
Wow.
So when we go through something and we don't know, okay, when this particular situation is going to end. I don't know how long I'm going to be feeling these feelings. I don't know how long I'm going to have these issues that I'm facing, and I don't see any comfort. There's no timeline or expiration date on my problems. If I don't see that, mentally we do what? We fall into a desponding state of mind. That desponding state of mind means to fail in spirit. My spirit gets weaker. I get weak and I get depressed. Then I'm classifying this depression. I'm classifying this failing of spirits.
And my behavior changes based off of the failing of my spirit.
And I classify it as being overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed. And that's how I classify this condition. I'm overwhelmed. I'm stressed out. Well, why am I overwhelmed? Why am I stressed out? Because I'm letting the situation that I'm in not having the answer of how long I'm going to be in this situation, how long it's going to last, and the trouble that I'm incurring, or the feelings and emotions that's bombarding me, because I don't know how long this is going to last, I figure I'm in a hole, I'm at the bottom, I hit rock bottom, the Most High is no longer accessible to me, I'm alone, I'm by myself, I have no comfort.
It's never going to change.
It's never going to change. Nobody's helping me. Because that's another favorite.
It's a major one.
Nobody's helping me. I got all these people around, but nobody. But you're telling people to study, but because they don't see how running to Christ is the answer, they're in disbelief of your method of what you're advising them to overcome their issue. They think that you're not helping me. I'm telling you what to do. You're supposed to run to Christ, but you're not helping me. I'm giving you the answer to overcome your problems, but you're not helping me. What do they think help is?
Like physical, something.
Physical. You're supposed to make me feel better.
Right.
Yeah.
Soothing.
So yeah, you're supposed to comfort me.
Right.
You're not comforting me as I'm going through my tribulation. Well, what is supposed to comfort you?
Scriptures.
The scriptures are supposed to comfort you. That's why Christ said, I will not leave you comfortless. He said, I will bring forth a comforter, which the Most High, the Father, will send in my name. He shall tell you of all things I have spoken unto you, and bring all things to your remembrance. He'll show you how to think in this scenario. But what we want is, we lean on people to take away the stress. I'm looking for you to solve the problem. I'm looking for you to take away the way I feel. I'm not the one to do that. I'm supposed to aid you in leading you to the answer, to drink from the water that Christ said was his word, which is going to be spirit and life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm supposed to lead you to the fountain of living water. I'm supposed to lead you to the fountain of spiritual awakening.
So you are spiritually dehydrated.
Right.
Like a person can be physically dehydrated and they get faint.
And they get faint. But people don't believe that that's the answer. So they minimize the power of the Most High. That's why Christ said, ye do err, not knowing what?
The scriptures.
And then he also said what?
Nor the power.
Nor the what?
The power thereof.
Nor the power of the Most High.
Come.
So he said that's our error, is the fact that we underestimate the power and the potency of the Bible.
Come.
And the words of Christ. Because I want you to take away my stress. I want you to solve my problems.
It's your job.
That's your job. No, it's my job to lean on Christ and run to him when I'm stressed out. That's my job. But because we don't value the power of the words of Christ, we don't value his form of comfort, we underestimate the power, especially in this society. We got more faith in weed and alcohol than we do in Christ. We got more faith in cigarettes. A cigarette is supposed to calm my nerves.
The pursuit of women is supposed to calm my nerves.
Right. We put more faith in all these other things than actually saying, what if I decide to make Christ my solution to my problems? What if I just believe it? And take your word for it and then dig into the Bible to find out, does the Bible and the words of Christ have the power to change my situation? And to change the way I feel? And to change my emotion? But we want somebody to do it. You didn't help me. You wasn't there when I was suffering. Well, there is somebody who is there.
We're there the whole time.
There's somebody who thought about you prior to you even being born. Who knew that you would suffer. Who already had the answers to your suffering. If you believe it. Read on in that.
Line 12. And by fixing their attention upon nothing but their present misfortune.
So I'm overwhelmed by stress when I'm consumed with putting my mind on the what?
Present misfortune.
On the present misfortune. I don't know how to look beyond my stress level. I don't know how to look past what's causing me the affliction, because I don't see an expiration date on my pain. I don't know when this is going to go away. I don't know how long I'm going to be in this emotional state or feeling the way I feel. Anybody ever been in a relationship?
Yeah.
God.
Not everybody, or has everybody? Eyeballs looking at Desmond like.
Doesn't know what's up.
Speak, young man. No, look. But you ever been let down by somebody in a relationship?
Oh, yeah, man.
And
What song was
yeah,
That's real.
that's
real.
you know,
A lot of music
that's
comes
a lot of Kanye West. Donda 2 is about to be the bomb.
Oh, man. Oh, my God.
He always make his best music when he's suffering the most.
Oh, my God.
He makes the best music. His music be whack when he ain't going through nothing.
Yeah.
He ain't going through nothing. His music be like, his beats be fire when he angry, man. When he's emotional. His beats be fire. His lyrics, you be like, man, I can understand. He's suffering. I can hear it in the lyrics.
I can relate.
I can relate, yeah. You know, but his next album gonna be off the chain, man. Cause he going through some pain right now.
We're going through a lot.
All the wealth he has,
All the money.
everything, every item you can materially possess, and he still got the common man's problems out.
Relationship problem.
Right. That's
You know.
crazy.
But what we do is we go through that common suffering that a lot of people have been through, whether it's relationship woes or whatever. But I'm still looking for people to take that pain away. But if you ever been in that situation, do you know when you'll get over it?
No.
Nah, you don't know. You know, usually you sit in darkness. You crying a little bit. You know,
A lot of bit.
a lot of bit, little bit, a lot of bit. All right.
I played
Yeah.
my records till they all played out.
Yeah. You crying?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
He knows myself. He said, "Lenny, you gotta forget about it."
Oh my goodness, you play that, man. It's over, man. So you did that good too, though.
He took me there.
You've been hurt. You've been hurt before. So, but do you know when that pain is gonna stop? No. That pain don't come with, like I said, an expiration date. It don't come with a timeline. It's gonna be there as long as you think about it. It's gonna be there as often as you think about it. And then when you see something that reminds you of it, then you go back to being associated with those feelings. The minute the thought pops up in your mind, the feelings come over you.
Come back.
And they come right back to you.
Like you were there, like it just happened.
Like it just happened. The anger, the frustration, the letdown, all these thoughts just start overflowing you. But because we don't automatically look at Christ, we catch the normal situations that happen to everybody. And we say, well, you know what? I'm just going to put myself back out there. I'm just going to go look for another person to rebound and replace this person with, so I don't got to think about this person anymore. I'm just going to go give me another one. That's what we think is the answer. We're going to get this person let me down, I'm going to give me another one. Yeah, but you know what? If you don't heal from that pain, that letdown, and you're still in the midst of your hurt, what are you going to do to this person that you go get?
And I like that class you had about on marriage, Make It Last Part 1, when you went over those statistics. And you showed when they tried the first marriage, this is the likelihood it wouldn't last. They did the Part 2, and it was 7% less likely that it wouldn't work. And then Part 3 was even worse. The third version of the marriage was even worse. They never went to Christ in that first marriage to solve the problem. So that lack of Christ in the first marriage, those same mental problems just went to the next marriage.
You know, the next person caught some pain that you should have healed from. The next person had to suffer because you never got true healing from your initial problems. You know what that's called? That's called carrying baggage. when you got problems that you bring in from one state into a whole new state because you never were healed from that initial state. You were never healed from that initial pain. So all you do is carry your old luggage, your old pain, your old problems, your own solutions into something that's brand new and give it to somebody that didn't even deserve it. Because you never got the answers to begin with. You never sought Christ to begin with. So there was never no real growth. So I just took this, what I went through, and I treat you the same way I treated the person, or I look at you like I look at the person that hurt me. Because I'm still hurt. Because I'm still suffering.
I'm still angry.
And I'm still angry. And I never got real healing. And that's why it's no wonder that the second or third relationship don't really last either. Because all I'm doing is carrying my problems and I never got answers for them.
Mm-hmm.
See, but when you're able to heal properly from whatever situation that you're going through, it doesn't leak out or spill out on the people around you. You come to grips with these things because you put your comfort in Christ. That's why when you do put your comfort in Christ, other people benefit from it.
Wow.
They benefit from you having solutions to your issues. They don't have to suffer because you never got answers. And now you got drinking habits, smoking habits. Now you're bringing weed, drugs into the new relationship. You're going to accept me. You got to accept me with my vices.
This is me.
This
Love
is
me for me.
Love me for me. You got to love me for my habits. I don't want your habits.
You can't do me at my worst, then you shouldn't have me at my best.
Right. That's what people say. But you know the answer is, I should be able to, instead of looking for alternative ways of comfort and not getting caught up into the present distress, I got to look at what heals me in the immediate moment. The moment I feel like I'm depressed, the moment I feel like I'm overwhelmed, the moment I feel like I'm alone, the moment I feel like I can't handle it, the moment I feel like I'm consumed with fear or overthrown by fear or I'm in trouble, the moment I feel sad, the moment I feel angry, that instant you should be open in the Bible. That instant and that very moment.
When I feel let down.
Yeah. Or I feel betrayed. Or I feel stabbed in the back. At that very moment, I'm supposed to be running to Christ. But read on. But that's not what people do. What people do is this. Read that part again.
Turn. Line 12. And by fixing their attention upon nothing but their present misfortune.
It says they do nothing but fix their attention upon their what?
Present misfortunes.
Go ahead.
They were hindered from remembering what deliverances they had received from the Most High.
It says they were what?
Hindered from.
Do y'all catch that? Read that part again.
Come on. They were hindered.
When you fix your mind on your pain, and that's all that you can deal with is, or look at, is what I'm going through. What happens to you if you can't get out of that mental box of suffering? What is the next step that you take? Read.
They were hindered from remembering what deliverances they had received from the Most High.
So what happens to your mind when you're only fixated on your problems?
It's a hindrance.
You hindrance of what?
Remember the good times.
You remember, you forget the good.
Right.
If you forget the benefits that you've received from the Most High, you forget the good the Most High has done for you. All the good things that happen to your life goes out the window when you're only fixated on your current situation.
Right.
What's the definition?
Go ahead. And then somebody give me Lamentations, chapter 3. Somebody give me Lamentations chapter 3. Go ahead and read that.
Hindrance, impediment that which stops progression or advance.
It says impediments that do what?
Which stops progression or advance.
It's impediments that stops progression or advance. So I'm hindered, meaning I can't progress. I'm stuck. I'm stuck in my situation. I'm drowning in my sorrow.
Or I'm stuck in my trauma.
I'm stuck in my trauma.
I'm stuck in high school. I'm stuck in middle school. I'm stuck in that argument I had 10 years ago.
Yeah. Or I'm stuck. I'm stuck
in that breakup.
That failed relationship.
I'm stuck in that problem I have with my parents that never got solved.
The fact that I grew up by myself.
God.
You know what I'm saying? I had to figure it out on my own.
My own these are my circumstances, and I'm like a vet. I'm like a Vietnam vet. I have these flashbacks.
That's real.
And it keeps taking me back to square one.
Yep. Lamentations chapter 3, verse 17.
Lamentations chapter 3, verse 17. And thou hast removed my soul far from peace.
It says, so when we don't experience peace, and our lifestyle becomes far from peace, far from tranquility and happiness, what happens?
I forget prosperity.
He said, I do what?
I forget prosperity.
Anytime that we suffer as a people, individually or as a nation, we forget what?
Prosperity.
We forget prosperity.
Come a little closer to the mic, sir. A little closer.
That's the normal state of mind. When I'm stuck or I'm hindered from growing, getting past my pain, the reason being is because I'm forgetting the good. Instantly, I forget the good. Our happiness is really circumstantial, based upon whether I'm feeling bad, then I can only see the bad. If I'm feeling bad, I'm consumed with being depressed. I don't remember nothing the Most High has done for me. All the good that's ever happened to me goes out the window. All I can see is my present misfortune. But what he's trying to show, what Moses is explaining is, this was the downfall of our people in the wilderness. The minute you catch affliction, you gotta be mindful immediately that the Most High has done me good. He has been there for me. He's not abandoned me. He's not left me alone. Job's wife said what? Curse the Most High and what? And die. What was his retort? What was his answer?
He's speaking as a foolish woman.
And he said what else?
I don't want to botch it.
Right. He said you speak as a foolish woman, not being ignorant of how the Most High operates.
Yeah.
You don't let this one situation take you out of your faith and remove you from faith. You don't let this one situation that you're in make you give up and quit. What does he say?
Job 2 and verse 10. But he said unto her, Thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh.
Why? Read on.
What? Shall we receive good at the hand of the Most High?
Shall we receive good at the hand of the Most High? Go ahead.
And shall we not receive evil?
And shall we not receive what?
Evil.
So what is it? What is the scripture telling us already?
We're going to get both sides of the coin.
You're going to get both in your life. You're going to get prosperity, and you are also going to get affliction. You're going to undergo both situations. In life, it's not going to be all victories. There's going to be some L's. You're going to take some L's in life. There's going to be some losses. There's going to be some depression. There's going to be some affliction. There's going to be some pain of mind. There's going to be some suffering. There's going to be some loneliness. But when you do get those feelings, the first thing you need to do is run to Christ. The second thing you need to do is to think about the good. Meditate on the good. Meditate on what the Most High has done for you. And recognize that the ills of life are a part of life. So that you don't be overwhelmed by the situation. Because you can let that go. Because that's naturally, in Job, that's naturally what we do. Read that one more time, Yeshaya.
Lamentations chapter 3 verse 17.
Read that.
And thou hast removed my soul from far from peace.
Far off from peace.
Far off from peace. I forget prosperity.
You got to yell that.
I forget prosperity.
What happens when we don't have peace in our life?
I forget prosperity.
What do you do when you go through tribulation?
I forget prosperity.
What happens when somebody leaves you and stab you in the back?
I forget prosperity.
What happens when you're depressed?
I forget prosperity.
What happens when you're alienated, you feel alone, nobody's there to help you?
I forget prosperity.
What happens when you feel like nobody cares about you?
I forget prosperity.
No one understands me.
No one understands me.
Prosperity.
I got to do this all by myself.
I forget prosperity.
You forget what?
Prosperity.
You forget the good. That's all that suffering does, is make you forget how the Most High has been there for you in your life. Read on.
Verse 18. And I said, my strength and my hope is perished from the Lord.
And I tell myself that the Most High cannot help me. Nobody can help me. There's no help. Neither do I look towards Christ, neither do I look towards the Most High. This is what people tell themselves. Hold that, and let's go back to where we were at in Josephus.
Antiquity of the Jews, Book 3, paragraph 3 and line 12.
And we're 13.
Oh, come on, 13. But as for Moses himself, while the multitude were irritated and bitterly sick,
Irritated,
Salakia. But as for Moses himself, while the multitude were irritated and bitterly set against him, he cheerfully relied upon the Most High.
He what?
Salakia. He cheerfully relied upon the Most High.
He applied the counsel.
Yep.
Just Sukkot. He went to the Sukkot.
He found safety and help in who? In the Most
Most
High.
High.
Read on.
And upon his consciousness of the care he had taken of these in his own people. And he came into the midst of them, even while they clamored against him, and had stones in their hands in order to dispatch him.
So the outside circumstances did not dictate his internal peace.
Say that again, please.
The outside circumstances did not determine or define his internal peace, his internal state of being.
His consciousness.
His consciousness of the Most High within himself did not perish from his hope and joy in Christ because of outside circumstances that are beyond his control. That's how Moses applied the wisdom of the Most High. He was an example of that. Christ was an example of that. David was an example of that. Abraham, who wandered in the wilderness, left his hometown, everything familiar, and had to live a life of faith, did the same thing. All the righteous men, all the great men of the scriptures, they did the same thing, huh?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't allow the outside circumstances and the pressure. David said, though 10,000 fall from my right hand side and 10,000 fall from my left hand side, I will not fear. Though an army stand against me, I will not be afraid. He's saying, I'm not letting the outside conditions change who I am within. But we change because of the weather. It's gray outside. It's just gray outside.
Mm-hmm.
It's cold outside.
It's hot
Winter.
outside.
My car broke down. Somebody yelled at me today.
I had a bad day.
My food wasn't the food. I got some really bad service at this restaurant. That small outside circumstance changed everything going on inside of me.
So we have situational faith.
Come on.
Is the virtue that we should be building up in order not to be like that, like temperance? Or
Yes.
what would you call it?
The virtue. You got to ask that question again. I want to repeat it so everybody can hear it online too.
Yeah, I was just wondering what virtue we should be strengthening or building up so that we are not so fickle.
Great question. She asked, what virtue should we be building up so to make it to where we're not as fickle or situational with our faith or up and down with our faith. Jump up to line 15. Read on down. Jump up to line 15 and where you're reading that.
Come on. Excuse me, line 15?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Line 15. And this by the means of that divine providence which have watched over them, seeing it is probable that the Most High tries their virtue.
It says it is showing these things happen to Israel because the Most High is doing what?
Tries their virtue.
He's doing what?
Tries their virtue.
He's testing your what?
Virtue.
Now the sister asks, what virtue should you focus on? Or what virtue should you practice in order to deal with this? First of all, 1 Peter 4:12 says what?
First Peter, oh go ahead. First Peter chapter 4 verse 12. Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you.
It says, first of all, think it not what?
Strange.
Think it not strange concerning the fiery trial.
What's a trial?
Test.
A test. So when you're being tested, what virtue should you use when you're being tested? What would be the proper virtue to exercise when you're being brought to a desponding situation, a depressive situation, a painful situation, full of affliction and anxiety? What virtue should you be enforcing or looking to employ and activate at this time? Right?
Can I ask? Guess one?
Mm-hmm.
I would say one is patience. Because in patience possess your what? Soul. Another one is the ability to communicate and work ethic as far as in the book, studying the book. This is what I use. I use study ethic. I use my communication so I can get somebody with the outside opinion that's biblical based. And then
you said patience.
Patience, because I can. If I lose patience, I'm gonna flip out and do something extreme.
Right.
So I have to maintain really hour to hour patience.
All right.
Hour to hour. That's what I do.
Right. All right. Well, let's find out. Okay. So first of all, when you're being tested, don't think it's strange, but there is a virtue that you could exercise while you're going through affliction. Read it one more time.
Think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you.
Which is to try you. Read.
As though some strange thing happened unto you.
As some anomaly has happened to you.
Anomaly, yeah.
Read verse 15 again, or line 15 in the Josephus.
Gone. And this by the means, Salakia, and this by the means of that divine providence which watched over them, seeing it is probable that the Most High tries their virtue and exercises their patience.
And exercises their what?
Their patience.
So what's one virtue that you should be looking to exercise when you're catching hell?
Their patience.
You should be exercising patience. Now, patience is a byproduct of another virtue.
Okay.
It's connected to another virtue.
So there's like it's not just straight patience.
No.
It's a combination.
It's a combination that these virtues, when you bring them together, they give you solutions. And patience is a byproduct of another virtue that's even more important to have before you have patience. Let's find out. Read on.
And exercises their patience by these adversities.
So the Most High uses adversities to exercise your patience. But your patience is a byproduct of what? Read on.
That it may appear what fortitude they have.
That it may appear what?
What fortitude they have.
Now, stop right there and go to Wisdom of Solomon in the Apocrypha. And give me 8 and 7.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 8 and verse 7. And if a man love righteousness,
if you want to do things the right way, even when you're catching hell, read on.
Her labors are virtues.
You'll be looking for certain virtues that help you be righteous. Read.
For she teacheth temperance and prudence.
She teach you what?
Temperance and prudence.
She teach you temperance
and prudence.
She teaches you prudence.
justice,
She teaches you justice
and fortitude.
and fortitude. Read it one more time.
Come. And if a man love righteousness,
Especially when you're catching hell and you're going through tribulation or temptation and you want to be right by the Most High, there are certain virtues that you need to exercise. They are what?
her labors are virtues.
What are these virtues
They're
in
labors.
particular? Go ahead.
For she teacheth temperance,
Just a short definition of temperance
Moderate.
is self-restraint. Self-restraint or self-control. So I don't lose what?
temperance.
I don't lose control. I don't lose my self-restraint. So, because a lot of times situations may cause you to want to lose control. They may cause you to want to lose your ability to restrain yourself. And that's when you're overwhelmed. So if you exercise yourself in these virtues, you learn how to control yourself while you go through affliction. So self-restraint, what else?
And prudence.
Prudence is sagacity. Which, go ahead.
Justice.
Justice is the right way to deal with the situation. Go ahead.
And fortitude.
And fortitude, by definition, is what?
Strength or firmness of mind.
Strength or firmness of mind. Read on.
Or so. Let me read it like that.
Yeah. Read the whole thing.
Fortitude. Strength or firmness of mind
Go ahead.
or soul, which enables a person to encounter danger with coolness and courage,
Read on.
or to bear pain or adversity without murmuring.
Without what?
Without murmuring.
But without saying, why don't you just curse the Most High and die? Read.
Without murmuring, depression,
Without murmuring or depression
or despondency.
or despondency, which we read the definition of despondency, which is to fail spiritually, to fail in spirit, to get weak in spirit. Read on. So fortitude keeps you strong when your spirit gets weak. It's the medicine to strengthen your spirit.
It's the spiritual medicine.
It's spiritual medicine.
But coming from Christ, who is the physician.
Right. And finish that down and read all of what you see in that definition.
Okay. Or despondency. Fortitude is the basis or source of genuine courage
Go ahead.
or intrepidity
hmm
in danger,
Go ahead.
of patience in suffering,
So it can help you deliver patience and suffering. Read on.
of forbearance under injuries,
Or forbearance, how to control yourself under injury while you're being injured. Read on.
and of magnanimity
Magnanimity. Go ahead.
in all conditions of life.
In all conditions of life. Fortitude is there to help you, aid you to deal with pain in all conditions of life. So no matter what you go through in your life, you should always be looking to apply what? Fortitude. Read on.
But courage is an active virtue or vice.
Right. So courage is when you take fortitude and you activate fortitude. That's what courage is. Read on.
And patience is the effect of fortitude.
And patience is the what?
Effect.
Effect of fortitude.
What's the byproduct of fortitude?
Patience,
How do you learn patience? It's through what?
courage.
It's through
Practice
fortitude.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's through fortitude. So
Yes.
fortitude
Awesome.
teaches you patience.
Right.
You have to be able to bear the situation and undergo certain levels of stress without it making you spiritually weak and despondent. And from you learning how to bear pain, you develop your patience. That's how patience is developed. So one of these things attributes to the success of another. They're compounding elements. When you stack these virtues on top of each other, they go together. But what they do is they make you well-rounded in tribulation. Go ahead.
Yeah, there was one more. Fortitude is the guard and support of other virtues.
It's the guard and support of what?
Of the other virtues.
They go together with the other virtues. Such as, go to Romans chapter 5, verse 3.
Romans chapter 5 and verse 3. And not only so, but we glory in tribulations also.
Now, once again, we just read in James. Somebody read James and said what? What James chapter 1 verse 2 said what? No, that was Peter.
James chapter 1 and verse 2.
Yeah, speak it towards the mic, please.
My brethren, count it all joy.
It said what?
Count it all joy.
It says there's a way to deal with tribulation. There's a way to deal with pain. There's a way to deal with loss. There's a way to deal with suffering. There's a way to deal with depression. There's a way to deal with anxiety. There's a way to deal with everything. But if you don't have that answer, you're not going to have any joy. Especially if you don't know how to exercise these virtues. Because they go together. Read on.
My brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations.
So the minute you catch hell, you're supposed to know that what? The Most High is about to develop me. He's working with me. When you catch hell, you're supposed to recognize not that it's a strange thing and why it happened to me, why am I going through what I'm going through. You're supposed to recognize that the Most High is dealing with me. And He's working on my virtues. He wants me to develop these virtues. He's exercising these virtues through my affliction.
So He's building me.
He's building me through my affliction. Yes.
Sorry, so the scripture that talked about how it pleased the Most High to bruise
Christ.
It's like
It makes more sense now.
Because I mean, you just read it.
He was building him up.
Right.
But you know why he was building up Christ? If we say it pleased the Most High to bruise Christ, He was building Christ up so that we can relate to Him and run to Him for safety when we get bruised. It was part of His training. The affliction that Christ had to bear was part of His training to help us when we go through our affliction. He wouldn't be able to put up with what we wouldn't be able to go to Him if He didn't learn how to suffer and still stay in order and not take it personally. He wouldn't be the qualified source to run to for tribulation. So it was part of the training that the Most High had Christ going through. Matter of fact, hold that. Just hold this real quick. Let me see if I can find it real quick. If I can't, I'll just move on. But let me see this real quick. Hold on one second. It might be in John. Go to St. John chapter 8, verse 27 and 28.
You said 27.
Yeah. St. John chapter 8, verse 27 and 28. Read that.
John chapter 8, verse 27. They understood not that He spake to them of the Father.
So when Christ was talking to His disciples, they didn't recognize that He was talking about His Father and the relationship that He had with the Most High and the things that the Most High had revealed to Him. Read on.
Verse 28. Then said Yahushua unto them, When ye have lifted up the Son of Man, then shall ye know.
They said, when you have lifted up the Son of Man, what was Yahushua referring to? He was referring to his crucifixion.
Right?
He was referring to His death,
Right.
being raised up on the cross. He was referring to His death. He said, what again?
When ye have lifted up the Son of Man, then shall ye know that I am He,
Go ahead.
and that I do nothing of myself, but as my Father hath taught me.
Oh, hold up. Christ was trained by who?
Most High, His Father.
He was educated by who? He was disciplined by who?
Most High.
He was taught by the Most High. And the Most High is put Christ through His suffering. That's why it pleased the Most High to bruise Christ. Because He was training Him. He was developing Him. He was showing Him not to quit. So this is why Christ is that reliable source that we could go to when we're in trouble. Because he got directly trained by who?
His Father.
His Father. So because he was trained by the Most High, we should trust that. We could trust that training. We could trust the lessons that he told us that we could go through. He said, I can do all things through Christ who what? Strengthens me. Because he understands that if I put my faith in the Father, then the Father will bear. He'll be with you. He'll make his abode with you. You'll be able to bear anything if you put your faith in the Most High. That's what Christ told Satan. He said, man shall not live by bread alone, but by what?
Every word of the Most High.
Every word that proceeded out of the Most High's mouth, right? So he understood that you can count and trust in the Most High as a trustworthy source. But he had to be proven.
It's also, but the problem is, we go through a lot of things and we don't talk about them. We don't talk about, we're going through things in silence, we're suffering in silence, and we don't speak about the real, raw issues. So, it's hard to give a person the right scriptures if they don't tell you the real information.
Right.
I had to play the guessing game. We got to be psychics. Or you got to read the Bible and be inexperienced and hopefully you find the scripture, which is, you will find it, you keep digging long enough.
Right.
But the silence and the secrecy that we operate in is the reason why our problems last so long.
Right.
It don't have to extend, our slumps don't have to last that damn long. We extend the slumps because we don't properly communicate the real underlying circumstances.
Yep. We prolong it. We prolong it because we try to self-medicate. We try to figure it out on my own. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out and I'll deal with what I'm going through myself. I'm strong enough to handle it. That's what we tell ourselves. That's the foolishness that we tell ourselves. I can do that. I can deal with this. I don't need no, I'm a grown woman. I can handle it. Or I'm a grown man. I can handle it. That's what we tell ourselves. Until it gets out of control.
Until you can't handle it.
Until you can't handle it no more.
That's real.
Just thinking about why we do that, why we try to maintain and just do everything ourselves. Is it like conditioning from the world? I mean, we think that that's what it means to be an adult, to be mature, to be grown, is to handle your own problems.
Yeah, because
it's like a form of weakness if you
look for help or assistance. Right. Yeah. Because you know what? The information that we've been groomed with is from people that's been hurt in the world. People that's been hurt in the world tell you don't trust nobody. You can only trust yourself. Don't trust nobody. Don't believe in nobody. People gonna let you down. You want to do something? Do it yourself. It's me, myself, and I. Trust no one. So the world teaches you to isolate. The world teaches you don't need anybody. The world teaches you that, you know what, pull yourself up by your bootstrap. Put on your big girl pants. These are just words that the world uses to tell you to get over it, but they don't give you no answers.
They give you means.
And through those recommendations from the world, you never progress in virtues either. See, the idea of the tribulation is to get you to exercise the virtue. But their advice won't do that. But back to Romans chapter 5 and verse 3. And then somebody was reading James 1 and 2, right? You was reading James 1 and 2 real quick, right? Read that one more time. And you had Romans, right? Read that.
You want Romans?
I want James first.
James chapter 1 and verse 2. My brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations.
That's hard as hell to do. That's very difficult to do, is to look positively in a bad situation. That almost seems impossible. But it's not impossible if you can immediately recognize what the tribulation is there for. The tribulation is there, it's present in my life, and there's no running from it because the Most High is working on my virtues. He's building me up. He's teaching me something through what I'm going through. That's why I said count it all joy when you go through what?
Diverse temptations.
Go ahead.
Knowing this, that the trying of your...
And what you got to know in order to be joyful in this process of catching hell is that what?
Knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience.
That the Most High is trying my faith, which is going to build me up in patience. Read on.
But let patience have her perfect work.
So let me not be frustrated, and let me go through what I'm going through, and let me forbear what I'm going through with fortitude, with temperance. Now, how do you develop that? Now go back to Romans chapter 5, verse 3.
Romans chapter 5 and verse 3. And not only so, but we glory in tribulations also.
Same thing James said. Read on.
Knowing that tribulation worketh patience.
Because these are building blocks of faith. All of these virtues are building blocks to faith. Read on.
Verse 4. And patience experience.
And if you build up your patience, which is a byproduct of fortitude, it'll give you experience. When you have experience, meaning you've been through this before. The Most High has taken you through this before. So I understand what I've been through because I allowed myself to undergo it without losing faith and getting spiritually weak and wanting to quit and give up. So the more experiences I have with the Most High, that He hasn't forsaken me. Read on.
And experience hope.
It'll bring me to what?
Hope.
So the more experiences I have of using fortitude in the midst of affliction, I become more patient. When I become more patient, I become more experienced. The fact that this is not going to last. This situation will get better. This situation that I'm in, I don't have to focus on this current situation and become despondent in this situation because there is an answer. The answer is the Most High is taking me through this so I can run to Christ. This is where He wants me to go. Yes, sir.
And that experience is your testimony, and you'll be able to share that testimony so that you give that next person some hope.
Exactly. Now when I tell somebody that they can go through it, it actually makes sense and it carries weight.
Yeah.
It carries weight because I've undergone it myself. And people they feed off of your testimony. People feed off of your strength. People feed off your fortitude. People feed off your faith. Because they're looking for a reason to believe that what you're telling them is going to work. Yes, sir.
1 Peter 3:15.
Read it.
But sanctify the Most High in your hearts, and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asketh you a reason of the hope that is in you.
And how do you develop hope? Through patience. Patience is a virtue. Fortitude is a virtue, and this hope is overall. They all work on your faith. You develop your faith through these virtues. So now I can stand the test of time. And so no matter what life throws at me, I don't have to depart from thinking positively. And this is what Israel has failed at all throughout history. They let whatever they were going through remove them from the Most High being in their life. That's what we just read that Jeremiah said in Lamentations. Somebody finish that now in because I said whole Lamentations. Somebody go back and finish that in Lamentations real quick. We're in
Lamentations 3
chapter 3. Let me get it real quick.
and verse 17.
Yeah, read that one more time.
Lamentations 3 and verse 17. And thou hast removed my soul far off from peace. I forget prosperity. And I said, my strength and my hope is perished from the Lord.
Yeah, because that's what affliction wants you to do. And if you don't have any virtues to go along with this pain and suffering, you will be in a despondent, depressed situation. Your situation will get the best of you. You won't have faith in the Most High. You won't have comfort of mind. You'll feel alone. You feel like you're no good. Or you feel like I have no answers. I have nowhere to run. I'm overwhelmed.
So it's me versus affliction.
It's me versus affliction. Read on.
Verse 19. Remembering mine affliction and my misery, the wormwood and the gall.
So I can focus on that, or I can do this. Read verse 21.
Verse 21. This I recall to my mind. Therefore have I hope.
So, I'm sorry, verse 20.
Verse 20. My soul hath them still in remembrance, and is humbled in me.
So if I recognize that my situation was only made to humble me, it was only made to humble me so I can understand and process what I'm going through. It was made, my situation was made to humble me so I could learn to lean on who? Christ. And the Most High in Christ. That's why I'm in the situation I'm in, because the Most High broke me, is breaking me down to become dependent upon Him and not my own personal solutions or my own personal way of doing things. So the Most High strips you of control through the affliction. He strips you of your own power through the affliction, so that you can be broken down and you can call to mind and put who into remembrance? You can put the Most High in Christ into remembrance. This is how the Most High develops your faith and develops your hope in Him. Yes, sir.
So that kind of makes me think of like how that's why the Most High is so close to those that are of a broken spirit and contrite heart, because they have been broken down and humbled.
Yes, they're broken down and humbled, and through the humility, they're more likely to lean on Him. They're more likely to call upon His name. They're more likely to depend upon Him. Now, I say likely because even when we were broken in Egypt, in the wilderness, we still complained and didn't call on the Most High. We still didn't develop the virtues that the Most High said were necessary to learn through this suffering and affliction. But a humble mind is more likely to lean and reach out to the Most High and call upon the Most High, if I can understand what it is that I'm going through with the right mentality. Even if I can understand that the Most High is building me up through my situation, even though it's uncomfortable. So, let that go. No, don't let it go. Read on down.
Yeah. Lamentations chapter 3 and verse 22.
Read straight to the point. 25 and 26.
Verse 25. The Lord is good unto them that wait for Him.
Because when you're broken down and you're humbled, then you put your faith in who? The Most High. And He says the Lord is good to them that do what?
That wait for Him.
That I wait for the Most High to change my situation. I don't start incorporating drugs and weed and alcohol and all these other alternatives in my life, which are idols. These are really idols that I'm looking to take away my pain or my discomfort. They're really just idols. So I don't look for idols to solve my problems. I wait on the Most High. And while I'm waiting on the Most High, I'm understanding, I'm not tripping out, because I understand that the Most High is using this scenario to build me. Read on.
To the soul that seeketh Him.
And He said He's good to the soul that what?
Seeketh Him.
So I'm humbled for the purpose of what?
Seeking Him.
To seek. I'm broken down so that I can come back and seek the Most High. So the Most High allows affliction to touch our life, not to destroy us, not so we can quit and give up hope. The affliction has a purpose. The ultimate purpose of affliction is for you to learn how to use virtues which will develop your faith. And while you wait in faith and increase in hope and exercise yourself with your testimony and your experiences, you can learn how to depend solely and completely upon the Most High. Read on.
Verse 26. It is good that a man should both hope and quietly wait for the salvation of the Lord.
That's the purpose of the affliction. That's the purpose of what I'm going through. But these virtues must be exercised. And the way that they're exercised is discomfort in life, tribulation in life. And there's no getting around this form of development. There's no getting around it. You have to go through these things in life in order for you to have faith in the Most High. There's no way around it.
What is it? Faith without works is dead.
Faith without works is dead. Because the Most High ultimately wants to see what you can do. Now let those go. Let all that go and go back to the Josephus and finish. Let's finish that up. Line 16.
Okay. Antiquity of the Jews, book 3. Was it chapter 4? Chapter 4, verse 16.
Yeah, it's page 79.
Okay.
Somebody, real quick, get this real fast before we continue. Get this real quick. Just grab this real quick because this goes with it also. Ecclesiastes chapter 11, and let's read verse 25 real quick.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 11, verse 25.
Mm-hmm.
In the day of prosperity.
He said in the day of what?
In the day of prosperity.
When everything is good in your life. Go ahead.
There is a forgetfulness of affliction.
There's a forgetfulness of what?
Of affliction.
We tend to forget that affliction is right around the corner. That pain and suffering is right around the corner. We forget that just as good as the Most High is, He gives us good, but He also gives us evil. Both come from the Most High. Like Job said, we shall receive both. So don't be so surprised when affliction comes, because the Most High hands out both of them to us. But they have a purpose, though. It's not for nothing. It's not in vain. Read on.
And in the day of affliction, there is no more remembrance of prosperity.
And it says when we do start catching hell, we cast out all the good. We forget the good that the Most High has done for us. It's almost like the Most High never existed. It's almost like the Most High never comes to mind as being our Lord and Savior. It's like Christ never died for us, for our situation. We forget everything that's good the minute we go through suffering. Read on.
Verse 26.
No, read verse 27.
Verse 27. The affliction of an hour maketh a man forget pleasure.
All it takes is an affliction of an hour. Make a man forget what?
Pleasure.
The pleasure is how good the Most High is to me. And that's what affliction does. You forget how good the Lord is. And you forget how many times you called upon His name and He saved you out of situations. Or He's been there for you in your life. All we can focus on, just like Moses said, we only focus on this present discomfort.
For my convenience.
This present situation. We don't look at all the good the Most High has done. Read on.
And in his end, his deeds shall be discovered.
And why does the Most High do this? Because the Most High is testing you. Because He wants to discover your deeds. He wants to discover what you're made out of. He also wants to know, what are you going to do when you do catch hell or affliction? How are you going to operate? How are you going to behave? What is going to be your state of mind when life isn't going the way you like and it becomes uncomfortable? Now let that go and go to the Josephus and read line 16.
He told them, it appeared they were not really good men.
It says when you can't focus on the Most High, when you're catching a hell or affliction, and you forget about the Most High, you forget all the good the Most High has done for you, He says you're really not a what?
Good man.
Really not a good man. You're not as faithful as you should be. Read on.
Either in patience.
You haven't learned what?
Patience.
You're not good with in patience. Go ahead.
Or in remembering what had been successfully done for them.
You forgot all the things the Most High has done for you. We have this type of short-term memory when it comes to all the good the Most High has done for us. The minute life begins to be difficult, we cast out all the good. It's out of the window. We can't think about like what He's taken us through and how the Most High has allowed us to overcome all of our scenarios, all of our pain, all of our suffering. And he said because we didn't develop those virtues, and that was the issue in Egypt. Patience is a virtue. We didn't develop patience in Egypt. All we did was complain. And for the affliction of an hour, we forget the Most High. The Most High left our mind. Read on.
Sometimes by condemning the Most High.
And back to the point again. When we suffer, we are looking for who? Somebody to blame. We're looking for somebody to point the finger at, to say, this is your fault. You got two choices. You can blame the Most High, you can blame people, or you can develop a virtue that's going to help you through your situation. Which in totality will help you develop hope in the Most High, which will create a stronger bond with the Most High. So you can let your affliction do two things. Blame the Most High and accuse the Most High, which is the definition of the devil. The devil is an accuser. So you can either become a devil and blame the Most High for all your problems and pain and your losses in life, or you can become one with the Most High in relationship by having more hope and faith in the Most High. Read on.
Sometimes by condemning the Most High and His commands.
Go ahead.
When by those commands they left the land of Egypt, and sometimes by behaving themselves ill towards him who was the servant of the Most High. And this when he had never deceived them, either in what he said or what had ordered them to do by the Most High's command.
Read on.
He also put them in mind of all that had passed.
So when you go through hell, somebody has to build you up and put you back in mind, or put you back in remembrance of the good, of how great the Most High has been to you. Because when you're drowning in pain, you can't see good. You can't see joy. You can't see happiness. You can't see the Most High's favor, His kindness. You can't see His mercy. You can't see His grace. Somebody has to build you back up and remind you of all the things that the Most High has done for you in the positive. Read on.
Okay. How the Egyptians were destroyed when they attempted to detain them, contrary to the command of the Most High, and after what manner the very same river was to the others bloody, and not fit for drinking, but was to them sweet as for the drinking, and how they went a new road through the sea, which fled a long way from them, by which very means they were themselves preserved. But they saw their enemies destroyed, and that when they were in the want of weapons, the Most High gave them plenty of them. And so he recounted all of the particular instances, how when they were in appearance just going to be destroyed, the Most High has saved them in a surprising manner.
What is Moses doing right now? Go to 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 1.
2 Peter chapter 3, verse 1.
We're not just reading a story. We're reading what it takes to pull people out of a hole. We're reading what it takes to pull people out of depression. We're reading what it takes to heal people's psychological issues. Read that.
2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 1. The second epistle, beloved, I now write unto you, in both which I stir up your pure minds.
He says, I'm writing this to you. I'm writing this letter. He said this letter that Peter's writing, the book of Peter, is a letter made to the church for what purpose?
To stir up your pure minds.
Because if you don't stir up somebody's pure mind, they'll be stuck where? On the negative. They'll be stuck in their pain. They'll be stuck in what they're going through. Like that we brought out earlier. They're stuck. I can't get past. I'm impeded. I can't get past my situation. So somebody has to come back and stir up your what?
Your mind.
Your pure mind. Go ahead.
By way of remembrance.
And how do you stir up somebody's pure mind?
By way of remembrance.
You got to keep reminding them of all the good that the Most High has done in their life. Otherwise, they won't see no good. Same thing he said in chapter 1, verse 13. Read that.
2 Peter chapter 1, verse 13. Yea, I think it meet.
He said, I think it meet meaning it's meet meaning is right. He said, I think it's right. Go ahead.
As long as I am in this tabernacle.
Peter said, as long as I'm alive in my body. He says, I think the right thing to do is to do what?
To stir you up.
To do what?
To stir you up.
How do you stir somebody up? Go ahead.
By putting you in remembrance.
By doing what?
By putting you in remembrance.
You got to keep reminding people when they're in a hole, when they hit rock bottom, you got to keep reminding people that the Most High has been there for them through their life. In all the situations that the Most High has held them up and sustained them, regardless of their pain, regardless of their affliction, regardless of their loss, regardless of their issues. You got to keep stirring somebody's mind up. You can't let nobody drown in the fact that that their situation has got the best of them. And now I'm a manic depressant. I'm damn near borderline schizophrenic. I'm full of anxiety. I'm damn near bipolar. Because I'm forgetting that the Most High's good has been there in my life. He said, as long as I'm alive, he said, I'm going to keep stirring you up by what?
By putting you in remembrance. Knowing that shortly I must put off this my tabernacle.
He said, because I'm not going to be in this flesh for long. He said, but as long as I'm in it, I'm gonna make sure that you keep mindful that the Most High is with you.
I'm going to build my spirit because I'm not always going to be in this flesh.
Yep.
I'm going to work on my virtues because I'm not always going to be a physical person.
Read on.
Knowing that shortly I must put off this my tabernacle, even as our Lord Yahweh Shai has showed me.
So, the Most High taught Christ, and Christ taught who? Peter. He taught him how to suffer and go through suffering while still not getting negative. Finish that in Josephus, and we're going to end the class with that.
We're right by line 19, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. Line 19. And that they ought not even now to despair of his providence over them.
And don't get despaired because of the Most High, how the Most High is taking care of them. Don't get sad. The Most High has been with you the whole time. Even in your loss, the Most High is with you. The loss and the pain and the affliction is the tools that the Most High is using to build you up, to develop your faith. Read on.
And accordingly, he exhorted them to continue quiet and to consider that help would not come too late, though it come not immediately.
He says, and he's reminding them that even though you don't know how long you're going to feel the way you feel, the Most High is right around the corner. People need to know that. People need to know that help is around the corner, even though it's not there right now in front of their face. They need to know that. Read on.
Come. If it be present with them before they suffer any great misfortune, that they ought to reason thus, that the Most High delays to assist them, not because he has no regard to them, but because he will first try their fortitude.
Bingo. Why don't the Most High come through when you want him to come through?
He must first try thy fortitude.
Because the Most High is trying your what?
Fortitude.
It's not that the Most High don't love you. It's not that the Most High cannot help you. It's not that the Most High forgot about you. The reason why the Most High doesn't come to your assistance immediately and pull you immediately out of the situation is so that you can develop your what?
Fortitude.
Fortitude.
Any questions? All right, with that, we're going to go ahead and say shalom. The water for watching. Imagine Punwakwadam, rising face to east. And we'll have class again on Friday and Saturday. Shalom to everybody watching and listening online. Shalom.
Shalom.